This sounds really simplistic, but it still shocks me how few people actually practice this. And it's a struggle to practice, but is this issue of focus. Steve was the most remarkably focused person I've ever met in my life. And the thing with focus is it's not sort of like this thing you aspire to or you decide on Monday, you know what, I'm going to be focused. It is every minute, why are we talking about this? This is what we're working on. You can achieve so much when you truly focus. And one of the things that Steve would say, because I think he was concerned that I wasn't, he would say, how many things have you said no to? And I would, honestly, I would have these sacrificial things, because I wanted to be very honest about it, and so I'd say, oh, I said no to this, and no to that. And, but he knew that I wasn't vaguely interested in doing those things anyway. So there was no real sacrifice. What focus means is saying no to something that you, with every bone in your body, you think is a phenomenal idea, and you wake up thinking about it, but you say no to it because you're focusing on something else.
Jony Ive's design philosophy can be seen throughout Apple's products. My goal for this channel is to become the most focused version of yourself. Jony Ive has been an inspiring person to watch and learn from because he removes all distractions in his designs and cares deeply about the essence of why, what, and who his designs are intended for. To me, that is the epitome of focus. So without further introduction, this is Jony Ive's creative process. What we make is who we are.
I mean, design is one of those, I think in many ways, massively misunderstood words. I mean, there are so many different sort of definitions of the word design to us. Design's it's far beyond just what something looks like. It's the whole thing. It's how it works. It's how it feels. There are certain things that are easy to represent. Obviously, what something looks like is very often the first sort of connection that you make with a device. You know, you make, I think, a lot of subconscious decisions about the nature of something by what it looks like. You know, you decide how you think you would hold it, how much it should cost, how much it, you know, how much it would weigh. But this realization that what we make describes us. It describes the things that we care about. It describes our values. You know, our values. It describes our preoccupations. And one of the things, it was the first time I came across the Mac. This is in the late 80s. But one thing that happened was I was completely seduced by the object. But then what happened, and it was the first time it happened to me, I wanted to know who made this. Everything around us speaks to who made it. And it speaks to whether they were preoccupied and driven by price and schedule and opportunism, or whether they were driven by care and trying to make a product that would make our lives genuinely better.
What we focus on largely becomes our reality. Jony hints that him and his team are driven by service to the customer, service to others.
There's a danger, particularly I think in business, it's one of the things that I've noticed a lot, that in the context of a business in a meeting room, we tend to be much more comfortable talking about product attributes that you can measure with a number. That's a fairly safe conversation to talk about, well, 5 is bigger than 2, and nobody's going to argue that. So we tend to talk historically about price and speed, and those more emotive, those less tangible product attributes can so easily be ignored. Now, the problem is, you and I both know, we make probably the most important decisions of our lives in the absence of numerical data. The materials it's made from, the more that we get into the detail of trying to understand materials, we become often fairly frustrated and dissatisfied. So that often leads us to developing our own materials. So the glass, you know, the cover glass on this on the new iPhone is actually a custom developed material, the same as the aluminium on the back. It's an entirely proprietary
English term for aluminum, isn't it?
It is. It gets confusing, doesn't it? But it's There's no detail that is too small that gets overlooked in terms of the care that we'll extend.
When we